This is the Sabbath School lesson for the fourth quarter, 2020.
Lesson 3 for October 10 to 16, ready for teaching on Sabbath, October 17, The Law as Teacher. Tuesday, October 13, that you may prosper. Throughout the Bible, we hear of other outcomes of knowing and obeying God's law. Question: read Joshua chapter 1, verses 7 and 8. What was the Lord saying to Joshua, and how do the principles found there apply to us today? Joshua 1, beginning at verse 7, Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. The Lord tells Joshua as he enters into Canaan, Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. That was Joshua 1, verse 7. This notion of success as a byproduct of obedience may seem contrary to the way success is measured in our world today. Many today believe that the marks of success are innovation, creativity, and self-reliance. To succeed in a particular industry often requires extraordinary talent and risk-taking. However, in God's eyes, success requires a different set of resources. Question: read Revelation 12:17, 14:12, and Romans 1:5 and 16:26, and James 2:10-12. What are these verses saying to us today about obedience to God's law? That is, even if we are not saved by obeying God's law, why is it so important that we keep it? Revelation 12, verse 17. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. And Revelation 14:12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. And Romans 1, verse 5. Through him we have received grace and apostleship for obedience to the faith among all nations for his name. And Romans 16, verse 26. But now, made manifest and by the prophetic scriptures made known to all nations, according to the commandment of the everlasting God, for obedience to the faith. And James 2, verses 10-12. For whoever shall keep the whole law, and yet stumble at one point, he is guilty of all. For he who said, Do not commit adultery, also said, Do not murder. Now, if you do not commit adultery, but you do murder, you have become a transgressor of the law. So speak, and so do, as those who will be judged by the law of liberty. Old Testament, New Testament, Old Covenant, New Covenant. It doesn't matter. As Bible-believing Christians, we are called to obedience to God's law. Violation of the law, also known as sin, can lead only to pain, suffering, and eternal death. Who hasn't learned for themselves or seen for themselves the results of sin, the results of violation of God's law? Just as ancient Israel would prosper by obeying God's law, even though they needed grace as well, it's no different for us today either. Hence, as part of Christian education, we need to keep God's law as a central component of what it means to live by faith and trusting in God's grace. So, to finish the day, what has been your own experience with the consequences of sin? What have you learned that you could share with others so that perhaps they might not make the same mistakes?
Hi there. Thanks for watching this video on the Advent-band Ministries YouTube channel. Please subscribe and click the bell icon to be alerted whenever we upload new videos. So, until we meet him in the clouds, may God continue to bless you.
This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind and Hearing Impaired, Christian Record Services for the Blind, the Sabbath School Department and Hope Channel. You can also listen on the official Sabbath School 4 app and the Apple iTunes app Sabbath School with Percy Harrold. Remember, God is always faithful.